We talked yesterday about Oracle's amazing move, 40%. We love it that we have it in our portfolio. We've had it in the portfolio for 2 years, which is great. And in one of our newsletters, which a large cap newsletter, Curzio Research Advisory. I mean, that surge made Oracle the 10th largest weighted stock in the S&P 500. But more crazy to that move, Bespoke came out, and I like these guys. They always have good data. They put it in perspective. Since the start of 2020, there have been more than 47,000 individual earnings reports across U.S. stocks. And only 126 of those reported results in a one-day share price jump of 38% or more. So if you want to see something rare, there it is. But this is Oracle coming out, and what was demand for? AI. We also saw Taiwan Semi come out, reported 37% increase in sales over the past 6 months compared to the previous 6 months. Also, they reported the monthly sales. August sales increased well over 30% year over year. Remember, Taiwan Semi, leading indicator for AI, makes most of the chips that are powering AI. They're saying demand's not even close to slowing. The week before, we saw Broadcom report blockbuster numbers. The stock soared to all-time highs, $1.7 trillion market cap for Broadcom. We talked about that yesterday. I had no idea it was that big. I knew it was over $1 trillion. I didn't think it was $1.7 trillion. But management said on that call, AI semiconductor revenue surged over 60%. Backlog hit a record $110 billion. And they said it continues to see a massively growing AI tailwind that shows no signs of slowing. Then what do we see from today? Morgan Stanley's having a conference, and the CEO of GE Vernova, which is one of Daniel's stocks, presented, and he said he sees $50 billion in 2025 orders and rising hyperscaler demand. So when we talk about this demand, it's clearly not slowing within AI. We said that with our sources. It's actually accelerating, not slowing. They keep spending. It's great for so many of these companies in the supply chain if you're on the right side, which you saw Oracle. We'll talk about Micron in a minute, which is in the portfolio. Even the hyperscalers, when you look, their results are insane. I mean, they're benefiting greatly. People say, well, where's the ROI? Look at the numbers that they're reporting. They're record numbers across the board, almost across every single division. They're seeing it. They're laying off employees. They're seeing the ROI on that huge CapEx spend for AI. And again, those record results. But what's not being talked about is this acceleration in spending and demand, which, again, many thought CapEx from hyperscalers was slow by now, is leading to one of the biggest energy crises our country has ever seen. And we simply don't have the energy to fill this demand when it comes to utilities, infrastructure, power. It's why the hyperscalers are locking in power for 20 years for power that's not going to exist for another 5 years. Oklo, same thing. I mean, you're looking at a company, last time I looked, $9 billion valuation with technology. They're not even generating revenue yet because we're in dire need of energy. Anyone who has megawatts as an asset on a balance sheet, Bitcoin miners, I mean, you transition from tier 1 to tier 3. Tier 1 is Bitcoin mining, and each megawatt's worth $1 million. That megawatt, if you convert to tier 3, and now signing on these clients like the hyperscalers, is worth 10 to 15 million, 10 to 15x more. So if you're looking at companies, a lot of small companies that have these megawatts, that own this power, right? They never thought like, holy shit, like how much this asset would explode in value. It's leading to surging electricity prices, which is just confirmed from the CPI, right? We're already seeing the good news, because we are going to see energy crisis. We'll like to see blackouts. The numbers that I'm seeing, I don't know how we're going to get this power. If you notice the meeting with all the technology companies, Daniel, what was that? A couple days ago, right? They all met, like the All In podcast guys were there. They all met with the president of the United States. That was about energy, guys. That was about how do we relax the laws to get more energy? That's what that was. It wasn't just like, oh, thank you for investing in America, and Trump patting himself on the back and talking to Tim Cook saying, how much you invested again? Say it again. Say it again. How much you invested in the US? Say it again. 500 billion. Say it again, right? It was about energy. These guys need energy to power this. And the good news for this is it's going to lead to massive profits for investors who are positioned in the right areas with energy and infrastructure names. And I feel like this is an opportunity where it's like buying cloud companies in 2012, Bitcoin in 2016. These are the gains you're going to see from many stocks in this sector where, yes, we saw infrastructure companies where you could say supply chain companies and chip companies and software companies that are benefiting. This is the energy part of the business. This whole trend doesn't exist without it. So Daniel and I are going to share 3 free names. And this is going to be during our live webinar event. It's 2 weeks from now. We're calling it the Looming AI Energy Crisis. Position yourself to profit. So it's going to take place, again, September 25th. This is a Thursday, exactly 2 weeks from now at 7 p.m. It's going to be 100% live, 100% free. I suggest all of you attend it. If you don't like it in the first 2 minutes, you can get out. Again, everything is free. Even if you register, which you can register at www.curzioai.com. We'll send you the 3 picks. We'll send you a replay, of course, after we're done. But we're going to share a lot of statistics that we've put together that are going to scare the shit out of you. And they scare me, and I don't get scared very easily. Where are we going to get this power where electricity prices are going to skyrocket? And some firms are mentioning this, some big firms. You have Kinsley, you have KPMG has some reports on this, and they're basically saying, like, we don't know. Like the demand and power, it's accelerating that fast. And we've talked about this in the past, but when you see the AI demand continue to increase, it means we're going to need more and more power. They're factoring the power generated by the current chips that are available in the market from NVIDIA and AMD and Broadcom. Those chips are going to require much more power with the next generation, which come out pretty much every 9 months almost, right, from these companies. And they're not calculating how much energy you're going to need from the additional chips, which are much, much more powerful. And when you combine that, you're looking at an energy crisis that's staring us right in the face that a lot of companies are going to benefit tremendously. And there's a lot of small cap companies. Again, a couple of those are going to include the 3 plays that we give away for free. So mark your calendar, Thursday, September 25th, 2 weeks from today. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Again, to register, you can go to www.curzioai.com. Dale and I are also going to hold a live, again, all this stuff is live, so it's a lot of fun. We have a live Q&A where any attendee can ask us questions, and we don't hold back with our answers. We're just sitting back with a couple beers, relaxing, and sometimes I think, damn, didn't it go on for like 90 minutes once? We finish a presentation maybe in 15, 20 minutes, and then we have all these questions coming in, and then we look, and we see how many people are still in, right? It's still in like the room that's hosting it, and it was 70%, 75%, so, Dan and I were like, hey, let's keep going, man. Everybody has more questions, and it was really cool, and the questions are usually great, but if you want to attend to the event, it's free. It's 2 weeks from now, giving you plenty of notice, and www.curzioai.com if you want to register. So, really cool stuff. And Dan and I love doing those live events.